Let's go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all. Need all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. Yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again. So sweet again. Above it all, beat all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all. I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again. Oh, na na, oh na 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 na. When all I see is darkness and gloom, yeah, I'll be running from my doom. Oh na 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 na. But now it's time to live my life, but now I know what I need to do. Oh na 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 na. When all I see is darkness and gloom, yeah, I'll be running from my doom. Oh na 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 na. But now it's time to live my life, but now I know what I need to do.
Go back to the beginning of the song. It shows you the name, so you don't have to keep asking. There's also a playlist called Music from James True Live. If you go there, you can see all the music that we play, and you won't have to be typing instead of listening to the song, because it's right there on the screen. And I spent about 17 minutes learning how to program the JavaScript to show you the title, but it doesn't seem to matter because people keep saying, hey man, what's the name of the song? Good morning, all. Welcome. It has been a long time since we've had Monday. That's probably better audio. That's probably better. We gotta get it just right. Gotta get just right there, James. Gotta get just right. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Happy to see you guys. Great to be here. And yeah, I could have just answered the question. I could have done what Noam did. I could have just answered the question, you know? I could have just been, hey, James, you could just like answer the question again. I mean, you know, if you answer it for the 13,000th time, aren't you really just practicing calligraphy, James? And isn't really that what this show's about? So, hey, maybe you need to check yourself, James. And so I have. How's that? Sounding good. Thanks, Pam. Good to see you. Sorry, James, but I don't like to read. But, Mrs. Ruby, if you don't like to read, then you can't necessarily type letters now, can you? And think about it. If you don't like to read, then you're extracting your pain of reading upon others. You're saying, oh, please read me. Read me now. I demand that you read this because I hate to read. Not that you're demanding. I'm, of course, being dramatic. Salicum. I cannot wait. Oh, my goodness. Sometimes the mitosis occurs in shows where I'm prepping a show for you guys and it ends up splitting into 2 shows, and that has happened. And I just told you a word from the next show. It's related to the show, so it'd be great if you watch the show. You're gonna watch how it transitions in. But yeah, it's fun. I miss doing these shows. My ear itches. Oh, it's the ear that I don't have full. Oh, that's the worst, guys. So when I had my face peeled off in my industrial hospital accident, where I decided, like, hey, Western medicine, yeah, what you got? Oh, yeah, let's try that. My face was peeled off and put back on, and my ear doesn't actually feel completely back. And sometimes you get itches, phantom itches, they call it. Yo, man, you got some phantom itches? Well, I know some magical bitches that will fix your phantom itches. You come with me. Get on back of moped. I drive you through a village. We duck plantains. I take you across the border where you wonder if you need a gun. You notice the whole time my machete is used every day, and it heightens and dilates you and prepares you for the medicine you're about to receive. We arrive at camp, and there, perched on a platform, is the dirtiest face you've ever seen. An immortal and pestle sitting there between her legs, and she's just pounding that stone, pounding it. She looks at you and whistles like she's annoyed. Come here. I have no time for you. And you want to know why she has no time, but she reads your mind, and then you feel naked like you've been raped. And she goes, I have no time for you because I am here making medicine, but I must stop every 3 seconds to answer the telepathic question that keeps destroying my clear frequency, asking, James, what is the name of that song? Oh, and I do not even know the song because I'm in the jungle. I don't have internet. And when I find this man named James, I will make him pay. And so I have prepped for you the name of the song. I placed it in the credits in really selfish reasons to protect myself from that shaman. She's somewhere in Central America. I'm afraid if I honed my sonar too much and found the exact location, she would then find me. And let's be honest, Mesoamerican, Central American witches are pretty formidable opponents. They really are. They are. So, should we get on the show? What do you think? Should we get on the show? You guys still here? Are you guys here? It's the first time we've been here on a Monday, but it's good to see you. Let's see. Rockford, I pushed the button. There's Graham. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Oh, Graham, you were so generous. Thank you so much for helping the show, Graham. I appreciate it. In fact, this is a fitting part of the show because I was accused last week of being bad because I wanted to do the show for money. It's actually a criticism, and it's usually when someone gets mad at my idea, it's usually the very first thing they say is try and say, well, dude, you're doing this for money. And I'm like, let me be clear. I fell off the deck because I lack money. My deck collapsed because I did not buy a new deck. When I say buy a new deck, I didn't spend the money or the calories or take the time out to put a new deck on. I knew it was bad. And I kept thinking, if I sell enough books, if I knew enough, I can repair that deck. And that's not a fucking selfish goal, okay? There's nothing selfish about that. I have people, innocent people, that come visit me. And when my beautiful friends, Trey and Mackay, are here, I'm literally like, okay, look, here are all the dangerous things in my house. And in my mind, as I'm reviewing them, I'm reminded most of these are due to poverty. And you know what my problem is? I don't actually need money that much. It's actually a flaw I have. Do you know why it's a flaw? Because I end up just learning how to go with less because I have so many other passions elsewhere. And I did that pledge drive in April, complete disaster. I was really let down actually by a lot of people that watch this show. We went to 5-5, I came back and I cleaned house. I literally took a fucking flamethrower to that piece of crap thing we had. And I said, you guys got to go. And all their objections were, you're doing this for money. You're doing this for money. And I'm like, fuck yes, I am. No one would volunteer to have to wipe your asses like this every day. Are you freaking kidding me? So I burned it all. And that's where we are. And you know what happened? I burned it all, and all these patrons fell from the sky. They percolated up from the soil. They lifted us up to a higher elevation. And lo and behold, for the first time in seasons, we're doing a show on Monday. Is that evil, you ask? Well, let's find out. Let's discuss, shall we? Autumn, Eagle Shield's in the house. Good to see you, girl. Let's see. I'm going to share this one. Boop. And I'm going to move this one down. Boop. And we're going to get started by clicking on slideshow. Welcome to the show, everyone. Great to be here. Seriously. My haircut is sponsored by the royal family of Noel. I'm not sure exactly the actual name of that, but Renee cut my hair. And it's really given me a lot of confidence. I haven't had my hair cut by a human, especially not a conscious one, since before COVID. And considering how much I've been cutting it myself, and she definitely gave me a hard time, I feel special. I feel privileged. And I just thought I'd say my hair is sponsored by Renee. And if you're in the Portland area, you could look her up. And here, let me give you her phone number and her home address. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thanks for the hair, Renee. Appreciate it. Talking about this today. This is a ladder, the hermetic ladder, and it's not necessarily exactly these words. This is just one of my journeys, the part of the journey that I've looked at, that I've seen. And so here it is. I was born a poor black child, raised in the alms of a world of materialism, brought up in the telepathic pit of despair, where negative thoughts were all around me, and I learned to eat them and find substance. I learned to mine the liquid gold out of every thought because I understood that below this negative emotion there is witness, and inside a witness I will find all of my food. And so I did. And it trained the artist in me without me knowing it. I had no idea that was happening, no idea at all. I went to college. I was going to be a lawyer. I was on the debate team. I was in student government. I was the projects chairperson. And for the very first time, I watched the very first ever gay lesbian student group form in the South at my college. And it was the cutting edge of politics and social angst. And it was happening at the epicenter of the school that I was at. And I was the chairperson of the projects committee. And this group was asking us for money to do something. And that money was the student government fees that all the students paid into. And it was a substantial budget. And what I thought would be a 3-minute request for funds from any student group turned into this 13-week bizarre menagerie. And I got to really taste what politics was really like. And instantly it was suspected that I must be gay, because as projects chairperson, it's my job to, whenever a student group fills out a form correctly and they bring it to me, I'm supposed to check this box and put it on the agenda, and then we vote on it. And then I go do my poli-sci class, go get my extracurricular activities. And this orthodox group of witch burners arose. Then I was young then. I didn't actually know they were there. The same orthodox group of witch burners is here today. The same orthodox group of witch burners has always been here. But I got to see it firsthand, and I was just like, wow, this is fascinating. And I instantly noticed that politics has nothing at all to do with logic, reason, or even politics. It's much more guttural. It's much more instinctive. Anyway, I don't want to get too off track here, but I was writing an editorial. I wanted to put it in the paper. I was crafting my editorial. And in the editorial, it occurred to me that the best way possible to summarize what I was going through was could be best conveyed in a political sketch. I'd never done a political sketch. I'd never drawn. In my family, I was told that my brother was the artist. My brother's a really good drawer. He's a technical drafting drawing kind of guy, like very,
very, very meticulous in a beautiful way. Like you get a sense of that meticulosity, and you feel confidence in it. And so I didn't have that. I was a brush person living in a metallic pen world, you know? Like calligraphy. If you think about calligraphy in America is, well, here's a metal pen, and if you press this hard, you get a line this wide, and if you press this hard, you get a line this wide. And everyone thinks that's calligraphy, but the reason why the calligrapher uses the brush is because he's not actually looking for precision. He's looking for authenticity. And the only way to express authenticity is to ride the brush as a witch rides a broom. You are in a journey on the paper because the ink is not erasable. And back then, you put in a serious sacrifice to find the paper. It required so many resources to assemble page, quill, and ink. All of those things placed together is nothing even comes close to, believe it or not, the technical prowess required to even construct a table with 4 legs that's somehow stable on the ground. We evolved tables from 3 legs to 4. We'll talk about that one day. But the easiest table is 3 legs, and we got so sophisticated that we developed that with 4. Anyone in structural engineering will say, James knows his structural engineering. I'm very impressed with that. James is right. It turns out that 4 legs is remarkably more difficult to stabilize than 3. And 4 legs even implies that you would have a floor that would be completely flat. And even I, James True, right now, I'm talking to you on a freaking platform that has a special cut of wood that's this long on one side and not on the other, because the attempts to jack up my house have proved to be far more expensive and expertly mined than I thought they'd be. Excuse me. I'm going to take this from you right there. Now, I'm getting way off track here. I drew a cartoon because I could not find someone else to draw one. I asked, and the student paper didn't have a cartoonist. It was a small paper. And so I drew it, and it was a picture of not a good drawing at all, but it was a picture of a person who had just opened a package, and in the package was an Acme Bible belt, and he placed the Acme Bible belt like a wrestling belt upon his mantle, upon his diaphragm, his lower cage. But used to be the source of the soul, by the way. People used to think that was the soul. And this Acme Bible belt was conveying this idea I had, and it's way too much textual information in here, because really all I really needed to tell you was that I couldn't believe how powerful those same pen lines were, because it was a sketch. That if I would have said what I said, and I did say what I said in the paragraph next to it, and I'm a pretty eloquent writer, I'm sorry, but fuck. I just, after a while, you start to realize, wow, dude, you're kind of eloquent at this, and you really suck at that. And you just know these things, right? I suck at cutting my own hair, right? The sketch showed me how powerful sigils were. I started to realize that the politics and the lawyering that I wanted was a craft. It wasn't a science. Law is not a science, it's an art. It's very difficult for people to come to grips with. In fact, most lawyers still don't know that. They still don't know that. You see those people all the time chasing ambulances. They haven't developed the esteem enough to look in the mirror and actually value what they see, so they act the way that they do. And this is the journey that we began. I wanted to be a cartoonist from that moment on. And the very first step I took was, am I worthy? Am I worthy to be a cartoonist? I put so much prana into the title of artist at the time that in the back of my head I felt I was never worthy to even be an artist. And that was actually keeping me off the very first step. The very first step was, am I worthy? Is James True worthy of being a political cartoonist? And I began the hermetic journey. No one was supporting me. There was not one person anywhere in the room that was like, I think this is a good idea. Like, not one. It was completely alone. And it was completely necessary. The worst thing you could have possibly done to me at the time is say, we need to carve a path for James to very simply slip into his dream of becoming a cartoonist. That would have been the absolute worst thing you could have done to me. The worst. Absolutely the worst. And thank goodness it didn't happen. Right? Like, thank goodness it didn't happen. And the reason why I was saying thank goodness it didn't happen is because I really, really needed this journey, and we all do. We all need it. And as we climb up this ladder, I'm hoping to explain to you some of these things along the way, because I think they're really, really important. In order to explain that, I would like for you to pause for a moment. I know many of you have a lot going on, and that's fine. This really should take about 5 seconds, but I do need you to pause if you can. Some of you paused the video. Crap. And so now you can't hear the next instruction. I just realized that is actually a hermetical threshold. So the people that have paused the video and are waiting for me to say something else, I think this actually is sort of like a good exit for you anyway. So I take that back. So yeah. So when I say pause, I mean stop what you're doing and actually listen to me. And when I say listen, I'm actually just want you to look at the slide I'm about to show you. And the slide that I'm about to show you, the reason why I'm asking you to pause is because I really want you to not miss out on the opportunity to stalk your reaction to the slide I'm about to show you. And since it's the first time you'll see it, I only have this one chance to do that. So I try not to stop you during your day. I really want to respect where you're at. That's why we say good morning instead of morning, because some of you are not in your morning, right? Not in your morning. You get it. Yes, note your first reaction. To the next slide. And here we go. Did you get it? Now, I've purposely hidden the slide because this is called palate cleansing. And if I let it linger, it's going to stir your thoughts, and you're going to start to... Some of you might be trying to pre-guess me. Some of you might be trying to pre-guess the show. Some of you might be purposely contradictory to yourself because you have another prana economy. And so I've turned the slide off. And I'm going to give just one more chance for anyone else here who maybe missed it because they were in the bathroom or they were putting something away. Now you're like, well, shit, what is he talking about? I'm going to do this one more time. And so here it goes. I'm asking you to please measure your reaction to the following slide in 3, 2, 1. Okay. The slide is the word capitalism, for those of you listening. It's just the word. And I think it's important that you look at your reaction to this word, because I think it's the closest context you're ever going to have about self-worth. Some of you are deep political theorists, and you're going to maybe be fighting the urge to say, but we don't have a purely capitalistic system, and so I'm very mad that what we're calling capitalism is not true pure capitalism. And there's this whole thing. You're 90 miles an hour there, and I get it. I'm with you. I was a sci major. I know. And I'm here to tell you all that's obfuscation. All of it. Every one of those things are distractions from the meat of what we're talking about here. And it's not even relevant. So I need you to know that, yeah, I know. I get it. But there's a reason why capitalism is here. There's a reason why we feel this way. And there's a crucial part of this is wrapped up in the artist's journey, which is the hero's journey, which is what we're talking about today. So your reaction to that word is actually a litmus that you have about your own self-worth. Your reaction to that word. Your reaction to this word is a reflection of your own self-worth. You can go back to doing what you're doing now. I mean, please still listen, but I'm just saying that I don't require your full focus right now, but thank you. Thank you for your participation. It's so beautiful how this world works. It's so beautiful that we have these ladders that are right in front of us. And I need you to know that the people that hit pause before were only 1% of the people that aren't going to get this. That I think 85% of the people aren't going to get this. In fact, some of those people in the chat right now, some of those people are waiting for opportunities to try and shit on this idea. And that you're watching that prana economy because you're looking at the actual economy of self-worth. And you're watching it act itself out on this stage. When you enter the truth movement, you will notice, if you pay attention, that there is a philosophy that can be conveyed into two simple sentences. The first sentence is, everyone above me is evil. The second sentence is, everyone below me is my idol. And we've developed this fashion for humility. We've developed this idea because it feels good. And you may not know why it feels good, maybe because you haven't applied enough thought, and this is the perfect episode to do that. Why would it feel good to believe that everyone above me was evil and everyone below me was my idol? Why would that feel good to believe? First of all, do you know that that's what everyone believes? Because it's true. And you go on Twitter right now and you will see that chick's a man, or that dude's a girl, or that's an evil Luciferian, or that guy's a blah, 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 or that dude eats children for breakfast, or that does that. And you're watching the people that are most in the public eye, that are the most successful, being accused of the most horrible things, because they're proving this philosophy that everyone above me must be evil because it makes me feel good. Because that's really what's happening. This is a philosophy that you maintain to survive in the world, and it's absolutely necessary when you're living at a certain threshold on the hermetic ladder. And that threshold is, am I special? We battle so much on these first two stairs. It's almost embarrassing. But if you keep your heart tender, you understand it's okay. But we spend so much time insisting that going up is a bad idea. Taking this step and venturing out to find out even if you are worthy is a dangerous proposition, James. Look around you. Look at all these people. How are their postures being held? If you think you're worthy, look at their posture. Well, what makes you so special? Why would you even think you're special? Right? You might be wondering, well, that doesn't make any sense, James. That doesn't make any sense at all. But you were pretending that humans don't live in nature. What do I mean by that? Every single creature in nature utilizes the magic of camouflage. They invoke camouflage when they're afraid. They invoke fear when they are desperate for their survival. This is a mode of being. If you watch Friday's stream, we called that majoritarian. You're craving authority because your biggest fear is survival. And the artist journey can never ever start from there. Yes, you can be a hungry artist, but I want you to know that the word hungry artist means you are still eating. It's just not eating well. Hungry artist means you are struggling every minute, but you have just enough to want to be an artist. See, if you were really, really struggling, the word struggling artist wouldn't be there. It would just be struggling. But the word struggling artist means, right, they've capped the outside of the lowest layer of Maslow's pyramid, and they've discovered their hero's journey. The hero's journey inside them has awakened because they've called themselves an artist. An artist. Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey, the oldest archetypal journey in the world, is completely built into the artist. Sorry for skipping ahead, but I really need to show you this cycle right now. Yes, right now. This cycle, Hero's Journey. This is a movement, and every artist has no choice but to embrace it. It's impossible not to. that there's an ordinary world, and that the world is actually first recognized as ordinary before this journey can begin. There's a call to adventure. There's a refusal. There's a meeting with a mentor. And there's a crossing of a threshold. The meeting of the mentor doesn't even have to be positive, does it? That when you ask that person if you should pursue a goal and they say no, it makes you try harder. Happened to me. I was told I don't have a creative mind. I shouldn't be doing these things. But I do. So the crossing of the threshold is a requirement. You must be this tall to continue this ride, says the hero's journey. Why? Because we don't want you to get hurt. We don't want you to get scared. And more importantly, we don't want you to shut down the ride for everyone else because you had a bad time. So the artist's journey has the threshold of being hard. It's absolute requirement. It's brutal. And it's a gauntlet. And only the worthy get through. That's what that means. Am I worthy? Am I worthy of this journey? I have a confession to make. When I was young, I had a really big issue with the idea of special. I had a hard time with that because, hang on a second. Benet, I was hoping we could have you back, but you're still in that journey of, I need everyone to focus on me, and that's fine, but there's just other ways to do it. Okay? I'm sorry. This idea of am I special, am I special, am I special, is in direct conflict when you just count how many people are around. And when I was young, I had an issue with that. And it was a silent issue because I felt bad for explaining what I felt. And I couldn't find a way to explain it. But I have enough courage now to tell you, so I'm going to tell you. When I considered whether or not I was special, I'm recalling that, well, everyone has always told me I'm special, and everyone is told they're special. So I'm not actually special. And I realized that it was a very painful place to be, because for me to want to feel special or to feel special, I would have to feel that others were not special. I'm telling you the framework I had. I'm not arguing for this position right now at all. I'm trying to give you compassion for what it's like to be on that first rung, if that makes sense. Right? I just want you to see where those rungs are. And it's not really special, really wasn't the right context that I needed to understand that step. And even the word I'm about to use doesn't really hit it, but it gets close, and the word is unique. It would have been more constructive back then if people would have told me you're unique. But when you're teaching a child primary colors, unique doesn't have the same kind of flavor as special, and so special is used, so I understand. I really do. I understand. And this, we have to literally grow a preciousness for unique. That you, as the artist, the very first thing that you do is learn to appreciate unique. All of us know that there's a level of artist that is a regurgitative artist, which is a skill that should not be disrespected at all. It requires extreme empathy, I think, to regurgitate a drawing from what you've seen. But all of us feel this sense of, this is not really the artist speaking. This is the craft or the talent speaking. This idea of being unique is the black hole of mystery that the artist carves into their belly and pulls forth all their creation from here on out. So it becomes an absolute necessity to have it as the second step of being special, the speciality. It's really uniqueness. But until the artist learns to taste the flavor of unique, you really can't use it as a context, which is why unique isn't even really a word that's valued by most grown adults. I know most adults would be fearful of buying a fruit that's unique, or trying a dish that's unique, or wearing a color that's unique, or a haircut that's unique, or a parking space that's unique, or a vacation that's unique, or a job that's unique. In fact, the witch burners hate unique. It scares them, right? It's scary for them. Really great to see you, Seamus. Really good to see you, buddy. So we develop unique, we develop special, we grow these vines that weren't there before, and the artist is born, and now you're screwed. Now you're screwed because now you have this new context over what's important. You've developed a completely different form of gold in the world, and this currency no one is accepting as much as you think they will. And this is the hard part, isn't it? It's all hard, but just saying you thought, well, I finally developed a spell. Oh, fuck, now I have this. And this is hermetics. This is how it works. And so the whole time while your witness and your perspective is growing value in your eyes, you're constantly exposing that witness and perspective to the outside world, and it's constantly being rejected, and it's making you refine it deeper. It's developing the editor in you. And the editor is a third-party skill. You literally have to step outside of yourself to become the editor, and that's a very high caloric activity, especially for the artist who spent so much time trying to get into themselves, right? Trying to become the director. And now they're the director, and they've been told they should value every experience because of their special uniqueness of who you are. And now on top of that, now you've learned, well, fuck, I have to edit it. And so the thousands of hours I put into painting, you're telling me I need to carve away and hide from the world and burn and destroy and sacrifice in some sort of magical ceremony? Is that what you're saying, James? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that. That you and you alone is going to create this chapel. And that chapel is lit on all the fires that you burned of work that you were ashamed for people to see. That sacrificial fire is Zoroaster rising in your heart. And this spirit, this Holy Ghost, the rest of the world calls inspiration. And it's the dead demon of your special uniqueness that you burned in a hole and said no one can see you. It's a beautiful spell. And when you're in the middle of it, you don't know. And the depression kicks in. And you reject yourself, and you just want to go be a line cook somewhere. Just want to be away from all this. And you want to be a line cook because you want to be dressed like everyone else. You want to be behind the kitchen doors. You still want to feed people. You still want to touch people. You still want to interact with people. But you're fucking tired of this game. You want off this hero's journey. You're trying to reject it. And this is literally what every sunflower feels as it's growing. That the spiral that the sunflower feels as it's growing is this. It's this journey. I'm going to show you. It's this journey. Exact same journey. It's not even a metaphor. This is not a metaphor. It's just simply the way it goes. I'll show you on this. This is a journey. It's a spiral. And the artist is called to adventure. He refuses the call. He meets a mentor. He crosses a threshold. He tests his allies and enemies. Oh, sorry. Whoops. And this is a journey. This is what the flower does. It invokes its call to adventure. It invokes its refusal of the call. It meets a mentor. It's either rejected or approved. It doesn't matter because it causes it to cross the threshold. It encounters its tests, its allies, its enemies. It approaches its innermost caves, its darkest places. It reaches the very bottom that it could possibly ever go, and it goes further. And this ordeal of the abyss, it faces the shadow of the self, and you're just reinvigorating the outer walls of your stalk that's going to hold the biggest flower you've ever seen. And you can't even see it now. You can't even imagine it. You're not even ready for there, right? Because you're down in the deep of it all. And you die. Apotheosis. You die. Thank God. You give up. And from there, you begin to rise again. This is the artist's journey. This is what it is. Most of us, including myself, don't actually have the energy to complete this artist's journey, this hero's journey. In fact, I would call it a luxury. I would call this a luxury. You know what else is a luxury? Is a pilgrimage. Pilgrimages are, believe it or not, middle class and above. You might think pilgrimage would be the poor people. No. There's certainly opportunities for the poor to be fed along the rails of the pilgrimage. But the pilgrimage itself is a luxury. And the artist's journey is a luxury. The starving artist knows he's not starving. The starving artist realizes how lucky he is, or she is, even though it doesn't manifest in their face. At the heart, at the crest, at the very bottom of that seed, the artist realizes that they took those 2 steps. Am I worthy? Am I special? And they can't go back. All hermetics work this way. All hermetics have this beautiful, beautiful safety that says you must be this tall to ride. And once you test this threshold, you're kind of fucked. You can't go back. And you love it. You've relied on that very thing. And there's been times when you've been whining on the floor. You can't get the technique right. You can't get the colors right. You just want to insist how stupid you are. And you find this other world of depth. I call it the cobalt. I call it the cobalt. It's the deepest, bluest sorrow. And it's electric and alive. It is fucking gorgeous there. And if you approach a gym the same way, you feel the same way when you're exercising. And you're just like, this plank hurts like fuck, I want to keep doing it. There's a special place there. And the only way you find it is with that aperture, and the only way you find it is with that posture, and the only way you're going to have that posture is if you've gone through these steps. Yeah, and you're forever grateful for those steps. It's a blessing. You feel like you've been chosen, right? The drama and salaciousness of the hero's journey is literally the only food that the artist can find along the way. It's the only one. Look at all these comments. Everyone gets it. Pleasurable torture, the immeasurable swell. I'm Kurt Cobain. All of those things absolutely express that. The cobalt. That beautiful, beautiful color. It's not even a color, is it? It's a shimmering. And when you're there, you know it. And when you're not, you're not. And you don't even want to share it because it's not even important that other people get it. And that's the depth. This is what's required for the sunflower to be. It really is. This is what's required for the sunflower to be. This is kind of funny. My mouse is completely lost battery. I think I can do it with a keyboard. Let me see. Does that one have it? think that might be it. Is it? Like no battery at all. Let me see. Is that anything? Hang on a second. No, thank you, Mo. Appreciate it. Hello, Mo. I can get you back to that slide, actually. I can keep going. I think I maybe... Oh, all right. Okay, so how do you work it where you only have a keyboard and the mouse is always in the same place? Let me see. Does that help? There's one. Does that work? Ah, now we're back. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Think about it. What does the hospital say? Thank you for your patience. They literally want the... Hello, Mo. They literally want the... Anyway. This journey is going to require capitalism. It would be impossible to make this journey without it. In fact, the artist having no choice but to survive in the capitalistic ladder is exactly the entire point of the hero's journey. It's absolutely required. There's really no other way for it to be. That if you guys were living in in this perfect utopian world, all of your paint would be dull. And the word cobalt would be Pantone 3689. And that's all it would ever mean. And the words you use wouldn't move the face. And none of us would hold joysticks directly into each other. You absolutely positively have to have these steps. You absolutely positively have to. And if you look at these steps, I've tried to outline for you why there's a teeter-totter, why it's a pendulum. And the reason why it's a pendulum is because the only way the artist is going to climb these steps is by using the momentum of his failures and his successes in exactly the right way. And ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to know why I swung such a severe sword on Friday, it is because of this momentum. I am no longer buying the idea that we will have this opportunity again. And I'm no longer playing any kind of patience with people that do not understand how important time is to the artist in me. And we will waste no more time on this quest for levity. This am I worthy, am I special gets you to this idea of should I do this for exposure? And you're going to hear a weird answer from me. Because if you go on Instagram or all the other Vice channels, they're going to tell you, no, you should never do this for exposure. You should always charge blah, 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 blah. And that's not true. The time for the artist to do something for exposure is when the time is learning, is the time that the artist is learning the value of witness. I hold 158 precious nuggets of gold delicately in the palm of my voice right now. There are 158 witnesses watching me. In my opinion, it's the most valuable commodity I've ever seen. 157, when he was like, oh, I'm done. And I can't go buy these, although some people try. But this is one of the steps of the artist. Learning the value of witness. And the only way that the artist could learn the value of exposure is to find exposure. So there's a point where the artist is seeking exposure and nothing more, Because there's a point in the artist's career where exposure is absolutely, equivocally the absolute necessary thing to continue. And you're still in full self-supportive mode. You're still in luxury. Art is a luxury. The hero's journey is a luxury. The pilgrimage is a luxury. Imagine you were on a sacred Hajj. You're on your way to see the Black Rock. And along the way, the people you're traveling with are complaining because they think that the world should be set up in a way to where everyone can do their pilgrimage for free. How would you feel about that if you spent the last year saving your money, hoarding your resources for the sole purpose of being able to go on this pilgrimage? How would you feel? Would you be fine with it? Because some of you might be, and great. You guys are communists. And I think you can paint a beautiful world that's going to do nothing more than grow people that want something more. And so even that is worthy, even that is special, even that gains exposure because those things add to the artist's journey of escaping from communism. When you go to Hollywood, it is impossible to work in the industry without becoming a communist. You're literally joining their union and saying, I am not equipped to handle myself or my worth. I am asking this bureaucracy to determine that for me. And so you watch the corruption of the system corrupt itself more because they've destroyed the artist's journey, the hero's journey that was so perfectly made naturally. Hollywood is a function of nature. It's so important that we have these places to crawl through. So should I do it for exposure? Yes. Until you value witness, you should. And when you get that exposure, you should be thankful for it and grateful for it and appreciate it and do everything you can to preserve it. How much can I charge? How much should I charge? What are those words really saying? Look at them. They're beautiful. How much can I charge? You're literally asking the world, how much am I worth? Charge, worth, charge. It's the same energy. You're asking yourself, am I worthy to fill my battery? Am I worthy to dip my cup in the golden liquid of witness that surrounds me and drink? How much can I drink? How much am I allowed to drink? At what point do I feel selfish? And you're learning how much witness is there? How much is there to drink? And the entire time you're pretending to be, you're pretending to show humility. You're like, well, I don't want to take too much because there's everyone else. But actually, I'm sorry, what's really happening is that you're struggling on that ring. You're 8-9 steps up now. You could fall any moment. And so you're looking for excuses. And one of the best excuses you could come up with to fool yourself, to give you the opportunity to climb down, is to say, well, maybe I'm taking too much. Or maybe I'm being selfish. And one of my good friends who Friday told me I shouldn't be doing this for money, he was several steps below me insisting, how fucking dare you climb that high, James? You were scaring me. And all that fear and all that apprehension and all that shitty talk and all those distractions are people that are insisting, if you would climb down from there, I would feel better where I am. And so you start to understand. You start to see what this is really all about. The prana economies above you and below you. Right? These are difficult things for many people to swallow. And I'm going to come back now and actually start this properly. I should have moved that slide, but this is what it takes. You're surrounded by people that think everyone above me is evil. Everyone below me is an idol, and now you know why. When you feel like prey, you're going to hide. When you feel like prey, you're going to want everyone else to hide. You're not going to want anything to attract attention to yourself. And more importantly, you're going to want to make hiding as comfortable as possible. And if your brethrens are brave, then you are going to feel bad hiding. And so it becomes quite necessary for you to inject a poison and pollinate the environment around you to say, if you are brave, I will punish you. And it looks like this. Everyone above me is evil. Everyone below me is my idol. And this is what hating capitalism looks like. It's the same thing. It looks just like this. Why do we live in a society where so many think success is evil? And now you see the benefits of that prawn economy. There's a benefit to insisting that everyone above you is evil because it will declare you evil the moment you succeed. And I swear to you, that's 85% of the people that you're going to meet in a random encounter in the world. That's why so many of you have gone to so much trouble to surround yourself with the right people, because you understand how important it is, because everyone who can see your face and you can see theirs holds a joystick into your body. They control your body simply by you looking at their face, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. At school, they tell you to hide during danger. They implore you not to make a sound. The entire posture of danger is camouflage. And if you have any doubts when I'm telling you that society is fetishized this idea, I would like for you to look at the screen and explain why there's a bronze statue of a child hiding under a desk. That this is the worshiping of this humility, because embracing this kind of camouflage is exactly what everyone needs to feel better. And the only stalks that are brave enough to push through is the lotus that you and I call the artist. It's the only one. So why must they go into capitalism? Why? And you're about to see if you don't already. The lack of self-worth manifests itself in philosophies you can see clearly. You can see them everywhere. You can see them in the posture. You can see them in the politics. The fact that 56 million people are absolutely convinced that if we choose between one or two candidates, that all of us can call this democracy and insist that we are free. This is a manifestation of a lack of self-worth that is petrified into a philosophy that you and I call government. Success is evil. This is what I was taught growing up. When I say growing up, I more mean by my peers. The moment I hit college, the moment I hit Asheville, I was surrounded by hippies that were demanding that I shed my ego and embrace the fact that success is evil. And that you dressed like you were a failure and you spent as much money as you could to make sure you look like you were a failure, because all of us are in camouflage. And we called that the artist culture, and it never was, which is why no art came out of the hippies. Not a fucking thing. The closest thing you got was a new take on grilled cheese or spinner paint. Because calories is the antithesis. We hide when we are afraid. The artist is brave. The hermetical ladder. Am I worthy? Am I special? Should I do it for exposure? How much can I charge? It doesn't stop. What is my impact? What is my influence? Where is my flow? How am I enriching others? All of these are the spiral buildup of the stalk, lignins congealing, creating that spine of vegetation for the flower to climb. Do you realize that the fear of criticism is the high dive? That the artist's child, climbs a high dive to dive into this pool of criticism. That's what you're doing when you're exposing yourself. That's what you're doing when you're telling people you're making something. You're embracing the danger, because you feel worthy and special. And the key here is entitled. Artists don't like the word entitled, so I waited this long to use it. But the artist is entitled to feel alive. I swear to fuck, that's where all this comes from. The artist is entitled to more. And so he squeezes it, she squeezes it, out of the cobalt cracks in the floor when you're curled up in the ball wondering, what the fuck am I doing? That's where you are. That's the only place the artist can be born. If I was to tell you that capitalism was found outside of humanity, would you believe me? What if I was to tell you that every bee who returns from the hive is expected to have a tax, is expected a certain pollen count be strapped to his knees, and that bees are expunged from the tribe all the time, the hive all the time, that those who do not produce are not allowed to stay? What if I told you that every mammal I know of practices some form of territory, which is the same as practicing the form of private property, which is practicing a form of ownership, which is as capitalism as you can be. Capitalism is all around us. That's correct, Nightbird. You're absolutely right. That's why I had to leave. I want you to think about the 5 vertebrae as different brushes, different avenues for consciousness to emerge and develop consciousness. And that it doesn't, you don't even need to look at it. I'm not suggesting that there's a neocortexual choice. I'm telling you there's an energetic choice, like a Plinko machine that is energy is constantly evolved and destroyed and reinvigorated and disinvigorated. That all through these things, the consciousness, that the neurological matrix that lies above all of your neurons is a metaphase. Everything that you call you is intangible. It's the space between the nodes. It's the space between the nodes. It's the space between the neurons. And that as energy evolves, it is ready for a different package. And that different package gives it different opportunities to grow one single thing. And that single thing is the very gold we spoke about before that the artist recognizes right away, and that is consciousness. It is witness. It is quality. And we owe it to ourselves to remove the disquality from our lives, because everyone you see holds a joystick to your face and will control your fate. And they will tell you to come down the moment you get too high. The artist's journey is alone, as it should be. What we call evolution is a hero's journey. And that each vertebrae is offering a hermetic ladder up to a higher frequency. That the system's working beautifully. And I'm not even necessarily saying to you that we came here through evolution. If you've heard my talks over the last couple months, especially with Homunculus Earth, you've heard me explain that I believe we're spawned. And that in our spawning, we would need to create some sort of avenue to get here, and that we're using the oracle mythology simply to trace back the consciousness, the avenues of consciousness. These are bubbles under the ice. They find their way. They find their way. And it requires no logic or neocortex to define that route out. Consciousness is the gold of Aquarius. And it comes from self-worth and entitlement, not humility or obedience. You are surrounded by people, many orthodox thinkers, that insist authority and obedience is necessary. And so they talk about law. They insist if the political laws fail them, they're insisting there's a natural law that protects them, and it doesn't. Natural law protects no one. Natural law simply says whoever has entitlement gets the seed. And entitlement is a magical act. Entitlement is a magical act because it's built from the very gold that the artist gathered along the way, the self-worth. We convert self-worth into entitlement, and it wins us the seed. We need these journeys. It would destroy them if we created a concrete pathway. Every single part of this would disappear. And we would insist that we would remove the strife. What is art, you ask? It's the shadow of this entire journey. The footprint. Art is the footprint of the hero along the way. And none of us even have to see it. This is what makes it so beautiful. You don't need to see my art for it to be real. The times that I think you must see it for it to be real is simply me climbing that ladder trying to find the value of witness itself, right? And I'm collating that along my journey along the way. What if I was to tell you that the reason why artists are so salacious is because it's literally the only way the stalk can grow, that the salaciousness drama that's extracted from the hero's journey is the swinging from colors of red and blue, of happy and sad, of fear and triumph, that this momentum is the only way we rise. Again, another reason why you have to draw the sword and cut when someone's stopping your momentum under the auspice of equality, because equality will kill the artist. You will drown and die under the idea that all of us should get along. The artist doesn't want to get along. The artist wants to grow and thrive. These are different goals, and if you embrace victimhood and when you embrace this idea that you can hide in the camouflage, you're going to push for everyone getting along all the time, every time, for the rest of eternity. This is a motor. And the angst you feel, the angst you felt as a child was the torque you needed to put yourself here today. It got me here. Keeps my mind quiet. At least when it matters most, or seems to. The Indian goddess is one of many hands. And I want you to think of the artist as the same way. And that without the rhythm, without the music playing in the background, this music would be departure, initiation, return, departure, initiation, return, departure, initiation, return. There would be no painting. There's been times when I've drawn a cartoon where the entire goal has been to finish, and the reason why I've been trying to finish is because I've been trying to base my self-worth on whether or not I could make a cartoon pay. And that was an absolute necessary part of the art. It was never wrong. It was absolutely necessary. It was asking me to do the math to figure out how much can I pollinate the world with this before my flower dies, and at the end of my cycle as a cartoonist, do I feel that my artist journey was the right one? And had my way been carved as a cartoonist from day one, I never would have known, because I simply would have filled out a form and checked a box saying I want to be an artist, and someone would have just given me a sheet of paper that said, well, you're an artist now. Isn't that what schools do? And how many schools do you know actually make artists? There's some. There's definitely some, but how many schools do you know that actually make artists? This journey it's not for everybody. It's a trellis in the garden, man. And I don't think everyone should get it. I don't want everybody to even understand. I'm glad that only artists get it. I literally think that the word cobalt is a magic word that only some people get. I really do. I think that people, when they hear the word cobalt, they feel it right here. And they're like, oh God, James, I know that color too. I really like that only 3% understand. Do you know why? Because it invigorates that quest I had to feel special, which was simply the quest to understand unique, which was simply the only way that this world could be where all of us are all things. It's the only way God could be inside of each of us is if we had this weird kind of math called unique. And that math is that every node is infinity. That's what unique really means. This journey has never been torture. This journey has always been a test. And you're on that path. I've learned to value bravery in my art everywhere I see. One of our new members of the tribe, you can call it a member, I don't know what to call it, but one of our new tribe. No, thank you, Graham. Am I worth it? Yes. Thank you so much. Pam, we were in, part of me's still there, but we were in Rhode Island. And Gus, the sarcophagus, I'm sorry I haven't showed it to you yet. We did unpack it, but it's downstairs. But the finished sarcophagus, Pam decided just to give it eyes. She literally invoked the Egyptian spell of the opening of the mouth ceremony on this sarcophagus, and she didn't ask me a thing. And I picture what it was like in her spine. I picture what it was like to even taste a little bit of cortisol, of wondering if I might react wrongly. But that's what I think. And I think that was then put into the fire of the sacrifice that makes the artist fly. That's the power. The power is that bravery, and the bravery would only come through this boink, 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 boink process. Am I worthy? Am I special? Should I do it for exposure? How much should I charge? What is my impact? Where is my flow? Am I enriching others? Is this for me? I think every job under capitalism has this artist journey in it. And a lot of you guys don't know that, but having a forklift license is pretty badass. Having the ability to play this time signature is badass. There's so much nuance that's built specifically in this really tiny place, and people appreciate it not because people see it. If anything, people appreciate it because they don't. It's these special, unique places. And when we start to measure our success by our exposure, you see the limitation of that fact. I've had that too, where certain parts of the audience will come, but they're not actually ready for the message. So I start to realize the exposure is not even good. That the exposure I need is a very specific thing. And when I say need, I mean, if I'm going to use this as a catalyst, I'm going to want to go on. I'm not going to want to be surrounded by hyenas. And so I'm going to throw you out. Not because you're bad, but because you don't belong up here. You're going to get hurt. And you get mad, you're going to get upset because you're thinking the entire time that the payoff is going to be on one of these steps. It's a matter of, am I worthy? Now you're rich, right? Am I special? Now you're rich, right? Should I do it for exposure? Now you're rich, right? How can I charge, right? And every single step of the way, you miss the entire journey. It's why I had to throw Benet out. She's been blocked for 6 months. As soon as she came back in, all she could do is talk about anything else but the show. That's why I keep throwing her out. I still want her to come back in. I want her to participate. But if your mind isn't quiet enough to actually enjoy, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. If you think I should be doing this for free, that I'm a bad person because I'm relying on people to keep my lights on and to protect myself from falling off another fucking porch, fuck you. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. You have no business being here. You devalue the artist's journey by telling me how worthless everyone should be. And it's the antithesis of why we're here and what we're doing. I really want you guys, if you can, to keep these ideas as we go on to the next episode, because this hermetics, I want you to see that there is a hermetical journey built into the artist's journey. And I want you to understand that no sentient neocortex had to create that. This world is not fake. This artist journey that you're finding in every single piece, the reason why capitalism is there is because all of us, we know how important these steps are. These are trellises in the garden. And you can knock them all down if you want. You can. But all it's going to do is make us choke each other on the ground. I have no choice but to build. I'm building this trellis. Fuck you guys if you don't want it. Trellis is here. If it intimidates you, I will build it thicker. I will make it stronger. You're not doing this. Right? There's so much to do. It's amazing where we can go. Thank you, Spooky. I love coffee. James, your show is off the hook. You deserve to get paid. Thank you, Almaine. I feel that. And honestly, a lot of people in the chat have actually put their money where their mouth is and be like, I want to be a patron. I want to help this. And guess what? If more people join a patron, I'm hiring help. So you're not even just helping me. There's a team going on here. We got things going on. We have things happening. All right? Cool things are happening. And it's going to require people stepping up, man. You got to feel worthy. You got to hang, right? I've never, ever, ever wanted to start some sort of communist thing where all of us just sit around it and come up with new creative ways to bitch about things. I've never been into that. I've always been the first to pop that bubble. I will continue. It will always happen that way. There you go. I was going to do that, but I bet it's going to happen, no. I bet it's going to happen. I agree completely. Guys, I'm going to close the show down because actually that's the end of the slideshow today. Check out the next episode. It's going to show this hermetic stuff in a cool way. Just in case Spectral didn't see that, I'm going to do that. Add as moderator. Thank you. Appreciate it. Save. All right. Want to say thank you to everyone who's been a moderator on the show. I especially want to thank Sark and Maird. You guys were very, very helpful for creating a vibe, and I thank you for that. Really means a lot. Truly, the highlight of my day was always coming in the morning and seeing Maird Moss smile. She's always meant a lot to me. And I think that there's a hero's journey in all of this for us. I really do. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, or you're curious if there's rumors or anything else, you can come to Airship and we'd be happy to tell you all the details if that's absolutely necessary. But through the history of the show, there's always been a changing of the guard. I've always found it to be really crucial and important. And that, I hope, is part of my hero's journey. Part of my artist journey is finding new places to take the show and everything we do. So, but I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge how thankful I've been for them. So if you guys are watching, thank you so much for all you've done. I hope that you'll still participate and just enjoy more. Not have to sit there and watch for B'nai Boo and be like, oh fuck, now I got to do this. Now I got to shut that. And is this person bad? Or what are they asking? What is it? What? Why are they sniping? Is this person just in a shitty mood? Can I talk them out of it? From the power of grace. That's right. No, I love it. All that stuff. So I think it's work. I think it's a vitriolic position. And we now have the embodiment of Athena walking around the chat room with a sword. So have fun. Have fun pushing Spectral's buttons. Have fun seeing if you can get away with the Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure motif before, because the energy that we need going forward is going to require a lot more self-respect, a lot more self-worth, which means all of you should feel that James's time is absolutely valuable, and that if we're not actually paying to be here, we should at least thank the people that are paying to be here, because we're producing something here that is very unique, very worthy, very special, and very much worthy of charge, because it's charging me. beautiful transaction you can have. The more you see value in me, the more you will see value in yourself. So even that helps. So yeah, enjoy pushing Athena. Go ahead. I can't frickin' wait. It's going to be amazing to watch from the sidelines. Bye, guys.